Hello everyone, welcome to the Northland Artists Conversation. My name is Brent Kallu. I am your host, your guide, your Sherpa for all things creative in Northland and New Zealand, and it's an absolute joy to be sitting here recording this podcast for you guys. You know, by the time this podcast comes out, we will have been going for 3 years, and I am holding up 3 fingers if you're listening to this. And that in itself is a huge achievement and something that we are all so incredibly proud of. If you've been with us from the start, thank you so much for being so supportive. And if you've just recently joined us, hey, there's 3 years worth of back catalogue for you to catch up on. Please and thank you. That'll help lift up the numbers. But yeah, actually probably a good time. If you do want to know where we are, stick around to the end and I'll tell you where you can find sort of everything in there. But nice and quickly, video is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and audio is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube Podcasts. Just search Northland Artists Conversation, Google, or whatever your browser of choice is, and you'll find us. Thanks very much. Right, my camera. Okay, so today's guest. This was interesting. And, Brent, by his own admission, was just such a cool guy. And as you listen to the podcast more, you'll understand some of his earlier comments that he makes kind of at the start. And we had a laugh. We had a blast. It was so cool. So I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna let you guys enjoy this. Let's sit down and have a conversation with Brent Kallu. By his own admission, was just such a cool guy. And as you listen to the podcast more, you'll understand some of his earlier comments that he makes kind of at the start. And we had a laugh. We had a blast. It was so cool. So I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna let you guys enjoy this. Let's sit down and have a conversation with Brent Kallu. Yeah, you could say that to a certain extent. Brent, thank you so much. Now, is it Brent or Brett?
It's Brent or BK.
Oh, BK.
Yeah.
Because it's Brent
Kallu.
There we go. Joe, which one do you prefer?
BK is what most people call me.
All right, BK.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us on the Northland Artists Conversation, man. This is awesome.
Thanks for having me, mate.
It's wicked, dude. Wicked. Now, it's kind of interesting how you've come to us, because you've come to us via the way of Michelle Watts, who looks after all the admin of the podcast now.
A very, very old friend of mine.
Yeah. You were saying now how... we're not going to divulge ages or anything, because age is just a number, right?
Quite right.
I turned 50 this year. But you guys have known each other since...
primary school, 5, I suppose. She was taller than me then, and she's taller than me now.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wow,
stayed
man.
in contact pretty much most of the way through. Like,
Yeah.
Seems to be the theme with our year group in general.
Yeah.
Even the ones that went off to Whangarei intermediate and others went to Kama intermediate. Most of us met back at Tiki High School, and so it was quite a lot of accomplished artists actually in my year group.
Oh, nice.
Won't say any names, but and very good art teachers at Tiki High School at that period of time. Like I was there from 85 to 89, I think.
Oh, we don't need to do the maths on that one.
Yeah. It was a very, very good institution back in the day.
Yeah.
I can't, no comment on what's like now.
So, you know,
or no opinion, I mean.
Times change, right?
Quite right,
Times change.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. You have quite a unique creative expression, and inside you were telling me about a commission piece that you've just been asked to do. We're going to get to that at the end.
Yeah. What
I like to do is I always like to find out how people got into being creative, whether it be, were you naturally creative as a kid, or was like mum and dad creative, or did you just kind of, school in general? What was it like?
Muddled through, really. Like, creative for me is not just art. It's like playing around with motorbikes, with cars, with all manner of things in my shed as a creative space. And my dad kind of was the instigator of me starting off on that journey. He gave me free access to his shed, anything I wanted to touch or play with. And I pulled apart so much stuff, and lots of things never ever went again. And so I was a very rambunctious child, I suppose the word would be.
That's a great way to put it.
It's a polite way to put it.
Very diplomatic.
Yeah, my mother, God rest her soul, probably wouldn't put it quite that way, but anyway.
No. Mums use different words, right?
Oh, yes.
Now, it's interesting that you say you think of creativity in terms of like also the mechanical side of things, because I recently rediscovered a documentary about John Britton.
Oh, amazing.
And I knew a lot about it, but I was like, this dude built an engine from the ground up. He didn't take bits and pieces of old engines and kind of cobble them together. He was like, I want to fundamentally redesign how an engine is done. And that in itself is incredibly artistic.
Definitely.
What he did was just insane. So
every facet of that motorbike too, not just the engine design.
No, everything about it.
Yeah, that's if you're at a motorcycle factory, that's probably 5 guys' jobs, just tasked with the suspension, the wheels, the motor. Who's a visionary, definitely.
Yeah, and then I also think of when I think of cars, as much as I'm remiss to say this, I often think of the Mazda rotary engine because that was designed by Mr. Whangarei, is that correct?
That's right, yeah.
And that engine design is fundamentally unlike anything that's a traditional, straight, flat V, anything like that. It's just so uniquely designed.
Yeah.
For those two guys, their brains are thinking they're thinking on a different level, right?
Oh, definitely. Totally different concept and design. I mean, the Dorito, who would have thought it would go round and round like it does,
Yeah.
It's like 3 moving parts on the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it makes wicked power.
Yeah, it does. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Growing up at home with being the rambunctious child that you were, how was schooling for you?
Yeah, a bit tough at times, struggle with focus, but I've sort of gone down this, I'm definitely neurodiverse.
Right, okay, yeah.
And sort of muddling your way through that in the 80s and 90s, really. Mum and Dad didn't know a whole lot about it, if I wanted to shut me up, they'd give me some Benadryl, and
right,
and it would just chill me out.
Yeah,
and,
the green death cough medicine.
Oh, I love that stuff, Mum had to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Definitely a handful. And, Mum and Dad bought their house in Tikipunga in 75 and...
Oh, wow.
Lived there for 30 years, basically. And, it was unreal. What an amazing childhood to grow up in Te Anau Place in Tiki,
Te Anau.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I know.
Still friends with a lot of the neighbours. Some neighbours still live there. It's sort of my grounding in this whole Whangarei space, Born at Whangarei Base Hospital and grown up here, and I've got three children that have grown up here too.
Yeah, cool, man. So knowing what we know now about people that are on the spectrum, I think is what that's what they call them. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah,
that encompases a lot of things. It should too.
It's quite broad, right? And but that's a good term. Back in the 80s or 90s, we didn't know anywhere near as much as what we know now, right? So the academic side of things for you would have been challenging, right?
Yeah, like fits and starts.
Yeah.
Like that whole come under the pressure to do a project, say have a whole term to do a project.
Yeah.
The amount of times my mum and dad would be pulling their hair out, like, you've only got 2 days to go. And sometimes I'd pull a rabbit out of a hat, and it would be the most amazing thing ever.
Yes.
In a time crunch area. Other times it would just be a dog's breakfast and I wouldn't want to go to school.
I was exactly the same.
Yes.
I was either a pressure performer or a full-time choker.
Yeah, mate, hard out. And Oh, choking. Thinking back, like I haven't choked too many times in my life. Like I can speak in front of crowds now. I was quite nervous rocking up here, actually. Like, just I've been listening to podcasts for a long. Well, I won't say since the inception, but been an early adopter, definitely, because the format's just so open and you say what you want, and. It just seems more honest than something that you're tuning up at 6 o'clock to listen to on the news, Much more relevant and accessible.
Absolutely. So when you were at school, was there anything that you did enjoy apart from eating lunch and hanging out with your mates?
Yeah, hockey. Hockey's played a big part of my life, yeah.
Were you, like, really good?
I hesitate to say, but... not bad. Got a few championships under my belt, and as an adult, and our Tiki High team did pretty well.
Not bad. If you're getting championships, you're doing okay.
I only got 10.
Only 10.
Yeah.
I played badminton in high school. I think I got like 2 small piddly trophies and a couple of attendance medals. So no, that's awesome, man. Very cool.
Yeah, it's been. Actually, one of my saviours through my life, I have to say, the endorphins associated with sport and being in a team and feeling included as a diverse person. Like most of the time, I feel like I don't really fit in, even though probably I could rationalise that as an adult now, but as a kid growing up, it was quite tough.
Yeah, man.
So I feel fortunate to have had a sport to lean on, and Cubs and Scouts and
See, those sorts of things, it's interesting, and that's one of the things I love about doing the podcast is when we talk with people, it's not a one size fits all upbringing, right?
Yeah.
Like we've had people that have been raised and done their schooling overseas, for example, and they sort of talk about the differences between international schooling or wherever they're from and New Zealand schooling, for example. Were you creative in high school as well, or was your focus mainly sort of sport at that time?
I can't draw a thing.
Neither can I.
I can make something out of metal that someone else has drawn to the T, to the point.
Right, okay.
To the millimetre. I'm a jeweller by trade, so it's obviously quite a detail. Yes, I worked for Michael Hill for 20 years. On and off.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
That's impressive. And that's in the flagship store here, yeah?
Yeah, manufacturing, as a manufacturing jeweller.
Really? Down in...
First on Vine Street, then we moved to... first on Rathbone, then Vine, and then he bought the TNG building, which is the old tax building.
Yeah.
In the middle of Low Hall car park there, yeah. So I worked at all 3 sites.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I did some bone carving with a teacher. Actually, it was detention.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to ask, what was the detention for? Can you remember?
No, because there's so many times they all blend together, if I'm honest.
I was the same. A lot of after schools, a lot of visits to the deputy principal's office.
Yeah,
Mr. Kelly, you're here again.
It was either struggles with focus or the other one was finishes his work first and then distracts others. Those were the two.
That was mine.
Yeah.
Mine was often dicking around in class and just being distracting with my other mates.
Oh, quite right.
I remember those days.
I think the current thing kids are taught. My wife's a teacher, by the way.
Yeah.
The things I'm seeing within her department would have floated my boat 100%.
Oh,
but who knows? That's the me now thinking about that in hindsight,
Yeah.
But, really, if I was going to school when the Apple IIe came out,
Yeah.
This sort of Carmen Sandiego was about the...
Oh, yes.
Most entertainment
that
you're
was
ever going to...
amazing.
Yeah, the old green screen.
Yeah. The floppy disks that you'd pull out, turn over, and put it back in.
Oh, you know.
Wow.
I've still got some just for memorability.
Oh, yeah. We are really showing our age here with this.
Oh, quite right.
Edison Lejo is sitting there going, oh, what the fuck are you guys talking about? She does, which is good. So yeah, she can relate. But she's going, you guys are definitely old because that shit's now retro as.
So you know the zip drivers then. Yeah.
Oh dear. So the bone carving, how did that kind of come about?
I think I was actually caught with a knife at school, maybe not for any nefarious reasons, but I was whittling a stick and the I can't actually remember the teacher, but the teacher saw me, and just why don't you come along and have a look at the him bow carving? So
Yeah, right. Wow.
yeah, so that was my first sort of look at it, and I just started pissing around in Dad's shed, and made a few carvings, and I did a student exchange in 1988. This is a long-winded way of getting around this part of the story, but of my journey, which ruined my education forever, I have to say. So it was a Rotary student exchange my parents never thought I would get, because they signed the thing to say, you can go for the first meeting. It's about 10 meetings till you have to worry about you go to Aussie, mate. No, you're not going to get that. And lo and behold, I'm having the gift of the gab just a touch. I got to the final interview, and at this point, Mum and Dad are looking around, when are we going to get the money to even send them to bloody Australia?
Yeah.
So I went over there and figured out I could bunk there. There was no checks and balances in that space. My parents bought me a surfboard, and for $1 I could get to Byron Bay and went surfing every day for 4 months. I was there pretty much.
Now, it's interesting you use the word bunking. I don't know what they call it now, but yeah, I got to high school. I'd been a straight A student. Primary school, I was runner-up to Ducks. Intermediate, I did really well academically. Third form, I was on fire. And then I got introduced to bunking. And my life changed forever. I discovered the joys of every other poor bastard being at school while I was at the beach having a surf. I went to school in Gisborne, so
wicked,
a lot of beaches. And they didn't care. It was like, Mr. Kelly, not here. All right, cool. And if I was having like 3 or 4 days off in a row, I would forge the notes.
Yes,
and I knew how to forge my mum's signature. So I was able to do that. I got away with murder.
Yeah, well, I got back from Aussie and just kept on that behaviour, and so then I had this whole other element where I had to intercept the letters from Tikipuka High School back to home.
Oh, really?
And I went away, I think, on a Ventura trip skiing with some friends, and got back. I think we may have had a day off on either side of a weekend. And, and it wasn't there to intercept the mail, and next minute, it's like the beginning of internal assessment, and for 3 of my subjects, you had to have attended, I think it was 1/3 of the year or something, or something like that, and I was like way beyond that, and you're leaving school there, and you're like, where's all your boxing? Go march me back up to Tiki High, see old Ed and Tate, and I thought you'd do more with your life, Brent, And I got that whole thing. Like, that's all good. Yeah. And there's, you're coming to work for me. And so he'd just bought a security company. So I was running cables for him at Michael Hill's workshop.
Wow.
And Dad went to school with Michael Hill. To Whangarei Boys High School, yeah. And we actually went to school with my uncle Roger, who's 2 years older than my dad. But still... so he went to school with Michael, and so security being quite a burgeoning industry back then. We're talking about, I think, 90 maybe. Yeah. And Michael, actually Laurie May, the workshop manager there, saw me running around like I do when I do anything. I'm trying to do it efficiently and quickly because it's one of my jams. And and made the comment, your boy doesn't sit still, he works hard. He's part of the model, blah, blah, blah. He says, Dad just happened to mention, he's into a bit of bone carving, probably looking around jewelry workshop, and like goes, you better bring one in tomorrow. So I bought a couple in, and by the time I walked out of Michael, I was signed up. So, and that's how my jewelry journey started.
It happened that easily.
Yeah, well, just happenstance, Yeah.
Wow, right place, right time.
Definitely right me, I guess.
Wow.
Took a bit of getting used to. When you get a job, you have to turn up every day at 8 o'clock, and
no bunking.
4:30, no bunking. Yeah,
that's
I've fallen into this little.
It's the hard one. No bunking.
It's like it was a habit, but not really a habit. And when someone's paying you, so the foreman after about 2 months says, "So Brent, you're late every day. You're going to be working for the rest of your life." It gave me the wake-up call from NUM. Yeah. So this is Rob Henderson. So he's passed on now. Away. Yep. Yeah. So he's also a tattooist and a carver.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, so he was my first foreman that sort of tried to rein me in a little bit.
Yeah.
And I ended up going down the production jewelry route rather than the creative side of things. I like efficiency and beating myself to make it, say, a batch of 20 of the same rings. I don't mind doing that. And
Okay.
I do it all day, every day. If decentralisation hadn't taken Michael Hill's workshop to Australia, I'd probably still be there.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You've said you're neurodiverse.
Yeah.
And rambunctious, right?
Yeah.
With, I guess a lack of focus on things.
Sometimes, yeah.
How were you able to apply focus to a job that is quite detailed and intricate and minute as jewelry making? Because it's not, you're not dicking around with engines or things like that. These are tiny stones that have to go in a very, very specific setting. How did that kind of balance itself out?
It's the two things are polar opposites. I'm a fart in a bottle kind of a person, but once
I'm
my
sorry,
mind's
what?
a fart in a bottle type of person, like
I've never heard that.
active relaxer, if you want a more
yeah.
PC term, that'll do. I'm definitely a bit special. One of my jams is repetition, and I'm really good in that repetitive space, and I guess I show from the beginning I can do something, affect change on a piece of jewelry with a file or a bit of sandpaper, and then look at it. Some people, when you train them, so I've had a few trainees in my time, being 52 now, some people just go through the motions of the actions because it's the same ring each time.
Yeah, right.
They're not actually looking at what they're doing. So there's a real balance between actually taking notice and actually being on like autopilot. And
right. Okay.
So I mean, before podcasts, we had audio books from the Whangarei District Library, which Matt, we wore out the tapes on those things, all of Tolkien's works.
Yeah.
Silmarillion, through,
those, man.
And so all that stuff sort of helped me focus. Like my ADHD or my neurodiversity didn't really come to bear until I'd left. So after the jewelry foray, I worked for United Security Northland for 7 years, and which was fine. So that was working with my parents. And within a trade which I largely knew. I've been under buildings for my dad since I could walk. And
Dad dragged you out of school and threw you in the security industry, right? Yeah.
And I've been in and out. Even while I was working at Michael Hill full time, I still had to help Dad on the weekends and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to continue to live at home,
Yeah.
And anyway, so you can't count the amount of cat. Old ladies sometimes put their cats under their houses. And when you're running cables with your dad, quite often you get slung under a house if you can't get into a ceiling.
Yeah.
And it's not nice under there at times.
No, it's not.
It's,
not at all. Not even close.
So hence to this day, they're not my favourite creature. But anyway, so I've lost my train of thought here. But
you're right. We were talking about jewellery and the intricacies required.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So so I look at the cause and effect of what I'm doing. So you're looking at your work as you're working on it, like any artist does, I guess. It just came naturally to me, and just trying to improve on techniques of jewelry techniques. With repetition being my datum, I know I'm going to make the same piece.
Yeah, we got an order.
Again.
We got an order of 20 pieces of these.
Yeah.
I know that this is going to come, and I'm going to have to file this 3 times and check it out. And then
Generally, they are pretty much the same. So I don't know if you could even call it art. I guess it's art at that design level. Christine Hill's first 20 designs, which I think they still sell quite a few of them.
Yeah, wow.
But she's definitely the woman behind the man in that space.
Yeah.
Much like my wife Rebecca, she designs the lion's share of the things I make, whether it be a piece of furniture or a ring or a pendant or earrings or tuki or
with the Michael Hill stuff, and you sort of being, as you said, more production than the actual design, jewelry, right? Yeah. Did you have any sort of artistic things that you were doing like after hours, or were you just pretty much like I'm going to go to work, I'm going to do some shit, I'm going to take my money, and then I'm going to do whatever, have a life?
Yeah, no, totally. Bought 4 acres in Whangarei, bare land, and started to do what's that show, The Good Life?
Oh, yes.
But, with 4 acres, not in suburbia. And, which was
the lifestyle block.
Yeah, awesome. Right at the beginning of the whole idea of them,
Yeah.
4 acres in Whangarei was 80 grand when we got it, so...
Wow.
Yeah, it's a few years ago. So no, Beck and I, have done lots of collaborative works of art from when she did her dissertation at Unitech.
Yeah.
Helped me with some printmaking stuff like acid etching.
Wow.
Just always busy. So not always art driven, but always gathering and foraging. For potential art pieces. So that sort of came to me when I left United Security Northland. Being neurodiverse, went through quite a few jobs and that, struggling to find a space that sort of could handle me, or I could handle it, or however that.
There was the balance, right?
Yeah, and it just couldn't really, found some jobs that I really loved and met some amazing people and did some amazing, all sorts of different things. Helped design and build a plant for the safe destruction of the Takata airbag recall. With another mate from primary school. Yeah. But, just to digress, and that sort of fiberglass skills. So I built a couple of boats over the years. And, so my mate knew that I'd done that. So you can do a bit of glass and come down here and help me invent this new thing. Okay, let's go. Packed up my truck and, come home on the weekend, see the missus and kids, and went through quite a few jobs, and really the mainstay all the way through was the first fish I made, which was a snapper out of 1 and 2 cent pieces, 5 cents along the belly, and power dots glued on them. And to start with, I patinaed them, and then decided I polished one day. So, I think I like the look of them polished. So started polishing them, and then got my wife's creative juices going. Could you make me this? Or could you make me that? And all of a sudden I'm doing like 4 of them and doing stingrays and, corfires. I really love making the corfires, the silhouette on the wall. So they're made of 1 pennies and half pennies. And all mostly forage. The only stuff we really buy is the Sulfos Easy Flow I solder with or braise with. Yeah. And the coins when we need to buy them. And
so it's interesting hearing you talk about sort of the different artistic disciplines that you've picked up along the way. And it's not like you've kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not like you've gone, I want to learn this, and then I want to learn that. It's almost been like someone's gone, come on, give it a go. And you've gone, yeah, all right then. And you've not sucked at it. Yeah. Which is amazing and very annoying as someone who can't do that shit.
I just, a tutu in the shed, I guess, and me letting before I sort of went on my journey of self-awareness, I'm ashamed to say I've really been over the last 5 years, trying to break down why I do what I do. And I think the lion's share of why my art is multimedia, so I don't mind what I work in. I like, like our ethos, or mine and Beck's ethos, is upcycling.
Cool.
Definitely giving something another run at life is something in another guise. Definitely. I mean, we live in this mass consumerist, wasteful society, and which seems to be a juggernaut out of control. And I can control that. I can reuse lots of stuff. Like I do some centipedes. So it's my dad joke. So 2 cent pieces, 1 cent pieces, centipede. Yeah, I know. It's a very, very dry dad joke.
That's a horrific dad joke, but a great dad joke at the same time.
It wouldn't even make a Christmas cracker, eh? It's that bad. I know. Anyway, my kids, they just hate on it, yeah. But so I like to use old Pururi fence posts or fence posts for those. So I search farms and just forage, driftwood. So I really love working with wood as well, and in particular not working with gold and diamonds and some of the things that people place great value on. These are things that cost a horrendous amount of money to mine and to attain, where, and I realise copper's in a similar
it's a
thing
similar
to gold,
yeah.
but it's more readily available in the fact that it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, to create something that's special to someone or special to me. Or
it's interesting hearing you talk about upcycling, because we have had at least one other guest on the podcast, or actually a couple, where they've done the upcycling thing, and it's funny because the upcycling has a very low cost investment to it.
Yeah.
And it's the cost investment comes in the time
Yeah.
that it takes to do something with it, right?
And the heart you put into it, you know.
That's it, you know, and you know, you sort of, as an artist, and this is one of the questions I've had discussions with artists before around what is your time worth as an artist, and that is what should dictate the price that you sell something at.
Yeah, it's a hard one, that one.
Yeah, it is.
And I always undervalue
myself. Art and commerce are just...
yeah, are opposed to each other, definitely. And I've struggled in that space to price my art. And people, you know, I had a couple of other mates that are artists. One kind of going down a semi-commercial route, and,
right?
And he's a bit better at structuring his prices because he's replicating an item, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, using casting. So it is essentially the same thing. Whereas I'm every piece is individual, you know. I actually totally lost my train of thought there.
So, and I find it interesting that you're sort of talking about this, because you went from Michael Hill jeweler, where it was production making, to then focusing solely on the unique and individual, where two pieces might look the same, but there are fundamental differences between the two of them, right?
Yeah.
And then how do you work out what your pricing is for something like that?
So we started working on, how much do the coins cost us? How long have we spent on it? And I never like to go on that prototype price, you know, because if I'm replicating something, which way I do replicate my art, you know, not thousands runs, like more like 50, 100 kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
And so it's not a mass market thing. So I can honestly say, hand on heart, that each piece is an individual piece.
Yeah.
And not that I'm trying to number them to increase their value, but when I make 20 of them at one time is different to when I make one.
Yeah.
So I feel like, because I've come from that commercial space of being able to price something out every part of it, every stage.
That's it.
I just can't do it. And invariably what happens is Rebecca, my lovely wife, ends up pricing it because I get sick of getting my ear chewed off to say I've sold that for too cheap, you know. Or not cheap, too cost effective, I don't know.
You had said it before, you undervalue yourself.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, I think a large percentage of artists do that in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might, like, let's say the centipede, right? Because that's the first thing that popped into my head. How long would it take you to actually make one of those?
20 minutes. I'll have one made. That's about that long, out of 2 cent pieces.
Yeah.
But I mean, mounted on a bit of wood and that. Like I said, production's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
And so I've made jigs for everything, and you know, So I as soon as I've made a piece or prototype something, I'm then trying to work backwards how to make it look better, and
more efficiently,
make it faster, I can go fishing more.
Right, because that's the goal,
it's
right?
It's all about me, yeah.
It's about the fishing.
No, it's my wife cannot make me do anything, and I only do anything because I want to do it. And I don't make art for money, and
right, okay.
You know, it's a pure love thing and inspiration, and like I love her to bits with all my heart, and she, you know, I think sometimes when I've cocked up a job or haven't been working, I'll just want her to you know, I want to do something for her to show her I love her, and
Yep,
so I'll
right,
make her
yep.
a piece, and
Yep.
quite often it's the beginning of a piece of or jewelry or art,
Yeah.
or sorry, I went fishing for 4 days, I got a marlin though.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it doesn't
yeah.
really work. Like, you give her a bit of jewelry, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I've been in the dog box 2 days then, instead of 10.
Yeah. And you want to be in for as little as possible, right?
Oh, correct, yeah.
So you'd done your 12 years Michael Hill, and you did 7 years with USN, right?
Yeah, on and off at Michael Hill for 20 years total.
20 years,
So I
wow.
actually managed, or assistant manager at Michael Hill Takapuna. So I went from the manufacturing department to working in a shop.
Actually in a branch, yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
well, I decided I loved Beck that much that I was prepared to move to Auckland. And
She was studying at that time?
cut my mullet off.
No!
And put a suit on and actually be a working stiff. And
How
not a bohemian.
impressive was the mullet?
Oh, it was pretty cool, mate. I think it was pretty cool. I think she was secretly pleased when it went, including the goatee that went with it, you know, which, if I'm honest, was only bum fluff, you know.
Right, yeah.
So that was a real eye-opener, that retail space having had nothing to do with it.
Yep.
So,
It's a different beast.
Yeah, it is. And went from... actually, I went from Michael Hill to work in a factory of 100 other jewellers, and they did go to woe. So Michael Hill, when I worked there, we received the castings ready made, like the master pattern makers would make them. We wouldn't see that. They'd go away, and then all of a sudden we have 20 of the same castings to clean up.
Yeah.
You know, or, well, more like 1,000, but in batches of 20. Then I went and worked in this factory in Auckland called Anvil. Met a whole lot of really amazing people and amazing artists in other genres and jewellery, you know, master pattern makers that, So Anvil got the contract to make these Mickey Mouse charms, and I don't know if you remember, but before the tariffs came down, years ago, before the warehouse, where the warehouse was just a garden shed with a couple of buckets and, a blue shell bloody paddling pool.
Yeah.
Back then, I think Walt Disney protected their copyright like you wouldn't believe.
Yes.
So they sent us over master patents. Well, the Goofy went somehow. Well, one of those master pattern makers made that Goofy, and I mean, perfect. Like,
yeah.
You know, obviously, photos had to be faxed over to America, and
fax. Wow.
Probably not. A little bit more modern.
Probably
than
a little bit later than the fax.
Anyways, that's the kind of skill level. I mean, there's a guy up the road here, Steve Gillespie, who's one of the most amazing artists and jewelers, cartoonist, philosopher. He makes skull rings for a living.
Yeah, wow.
He is one of my inspirations, I have to say. You know, just that whole, you don't have to be a contemporary jeweler. You don't have to be a contemporary pigeonhole anything. And I think the first fish I made in my last week of working at Michael Hill, when he made us, before we all were made redundant. So, you know, that's definitely pushed me away from that contemporary jewelry space and contemporary art even, you know.
So with the, so you did your time with Michael Hill on and off, you know, because you were in and out, right? And then you did your time helping Dad in and out as well, right? What do you do now?
As little as possible. Right now, over the last couple of months, I've been renovating a commercial building I own, or my wife and I own.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a home brew shop. So that was one of my other things, a brief foray into owning and managing Brewers World on Manu Road. So I like to brew beer.
I know where you are. Yep.
So I like brewing beer and ethanol and all the science surrounding it, and how to make the best beer I possibly can, and quickly worked out the nuances of that art. So that's art as well.
Yes, it
is. Definitely. So I've been renovating that old villa. It was built in 1926, and so hopefully I've done it justice. So there's a bit of art around that place, stuff that I don't know how to do, so I'm just going to call it art.
Yeah. I'm
not LPB certified, so no council compliance there. I Don't watch this, Council.
No,
Vince.
Council,
Yeah.
Vince, just ignore this, mate.
Yeah.
Vince and Nick, Mr. Connop, just ignore that as well, please.
Yeah. So, but I've just so I do a bit of contract jewellery. I've been working at Girls High, just helping the property manager there, doing odd jobs, anything to stay busy.
Yeah.
I kind of don't fit the norm, and I don't want to start another career at 52, so I'll just continue being an artist. And
mate, you are living the dream.
Oh, I know, right? One day, maybe when I grow up, I might even try a different art comedy, you know. So
I'll
give it a nudge. I'm funny at times.
With the I'm lost for words at the moment. You got commissioned to do a rather unique piece of art for a very uniquely Northland person.
Yep.
Can you share a bit of that?
Without talking out of school, he's, I think it may have been his wife saw some of our work online. We were in an exhibition down in the South Island we just sent Ted Works down to. Yeah. And I think that might be where his wife saw it. My wife would be able to correct me if I'm wrong. She usually does. Just ask Google. I don't need Google.
No,
just ask her,
just ask the wife.
Yeah. I've seen that on the T-shirt, which I'd quite like, Beck. So he saw, his wife saw the artwork and just started a dialogue with Rebecca, and all of a sudden Beck goes, "Oh, we're going up to meet Matt Watson at his new house." So, hey.
Now, this is Matt Watson from the ITM fishing show, is that right?
Yeah. And
the dude that jumped off a helicopter into water to catch a marlin. Now, it was debunked that didn't actually happen. It's two separate shots stitched together.
It doesn't matter. Right man, right place for
holy shit, it looked amazing when it came out. I remember him doing the talk show circuit in America. And it was just like, they played that clip and he's just like, oh yeah, blah, and I was just like, what the hell is this guy?
Yeah, I know,
he's
right?
The coolest ever.
Yeah, like Aussie's got the crocodile hunter,
yes.
We got Matt Watson,
yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
Like, he's definitely one of our fishing icons here, along with poor old Jeff Sinclair. Yeah, he's
now there's Jeff Sinclair, but there was the
that's a keeper.
There was the guy in the wheelchair as well.
Yeah, that's him.
Is that Jeff Sinclair?
Yep.
And
Murray, who's the other guy? Ooh, I can't remember his name. Faded into the distance from all Matt Watson stunts. So
yeah. Because there was the ITM fishing show, and then there was, I think, Gone Fishing.
Oh yeah, so Gone Fishing.
There were the two different types of shows. ITM was quite action based. I might even have the two round the wrong way.
Yeah, no.
But one of them was like...
Was it Fishing with Jeff?
Yep.
Yeah. So it wasn't Jeff Sinclair. God, I've made a faux pas there.
But there were two. There were the two types.
Yeah.
You'd have
the guy with a slightly balding head, not to.
Yep.
You know,
the moustache.
Yeah, and then there's
the
guy in the wheelchair. Yeah. So that's Graham Sinclair.
Yeah, Graham.
Yeah,
that's the one.
And the other one was Jeff someone, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. His one was more geared at the old guys with the quads going out duck shooting, you know.
That's the one.
But, Matt Watson certainly made it a bit more exciting.
He did.
And, definitely with the technology of, GoPros.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Just had good ideas, obviously, And, lots of stars have gone fishing with him. And, I actually met him in a social setting at Tutukaka Deep Sea Anglers, and prior to being
the commission.
And what a nice guy. Really, really super passionate about our environment and sustainability.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
No, that's a big part of him.
That's a hell of a thing to be commissioned by, as someone that you watched.
Yeah.
And you were like, I
emulated, tried to emulate.
I saw you on TV. You were doing some cool stuff.
Yeah. Inspired.
And, absolutely. Someone that, you are, as you said, you are inspired by.
Yeah, definitely.
And, not many people get those opportunities in life. But it seems like, I'm going to say a phrase, but it seems like you've been a bit of a jammy bastard the whole
totally.
way.
100%. Yep. 100%. Like, I don't know, just trying to be a good person, do good, be good, I don't know, try to raise 3 children and release 3 children that are going to be productive members of society, I guess, whatever guys that may be when they're adults. So, it's he's passionate about everything I do, everything.
Which is amazing, because okay. Question for you, sort of thinking about everything that we've sort of discussed so far. Were there ever any points in time where the passion had gone?
Yeah, my mum passed away around about 12 or 13 years ago, and I definitely had a period of time until I actually manned up and went and got some counselling.
Oh, wow, okay.
Oh, yeah, totally. I had to. I was just in a really
dark place.
Yeah, I'm a mummy's boy. Happy to say it.
Very cool.
It's great. I can talk about my mum without bursting into tears now.
Yep.
So that was a great thing from the counsellor, and but definitely struggled for a time around then, and it was kind of towards the end of working at United Security. So a lot going on in that space too. It's like turmoil in my life, and fortunately got onto a really good counsellor and
good.
And talked about it and encouraged others around me to go and talk about it. If I'd impacted on their life in any way, or I was just ambling along really,
Yeah.
And my art's kind of changed. I've got a bit more directed now, and I'm not as happenstance maybe, or like one of those ADHD things where you see something, oh shit, I'm just going to make that. So I'll find a half-done project in the shed. Oh shit, I got the other bit that I had to finish that art.
Yeah.
Oh cool. Hey Beck, look, I finished that art. You've been waiting for 2 years. And like the corfis, I couldn't. When Beck designed the corfi, so I make some. I think there's 4 corfis in the leaves, and they come down. It's about so big.
Yeah.
And I just didn't get it. She's spent a year trying to explain it to me. And
wow.
What she wanted, and she lacked the mechanical skills to actually go, well, I want you to bend this like this. And so a 2D picture that she was trying to describe to me just meant nothing to me. And so at least I could see the whole overall concept.
Yeah.
And, I was talking to the kids about putting 2-cent pieces on the railway tracks down by the brickworks where my grandma and granddad used to live, and making them flat.
Yes.
And how sometimes if they were on the edge of the tracks, they'll curl.
Yep.
And she goes, yeah, that's what I do. So I went straight to the shed and made her a corfi.
Yeah.
The whole thing. And she's like, yeah, see.
Yeah.
It's like, I just spent all that. You go, no, I can't do it. I can't do that. And try for 10 minutes. No, it's not flowing. And but once I get that, the mechanical, it's kind of more about how it's built.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
She kind of tells me how she wants it to look.
Yeah.
And I've got a bit of nous in that space, but I'm purely mechanical, really, and process.
And that's probably why the two of you complement each other so
Totally,
well.
yeah.
She is the designer.
Yep, she definitely is.
You reverse engineer everything and figure out the actual logistics behind things.
So Beck makes the whales herself, so I don't have any part of those, except for gluing the hooks to hang them on the wall. So, I feel a bit bad that I'm only half the story, really. And, she's either inspired me to make some of the art I've made, or flat out just whipped me to make it, or been a part of it's been a collaborative effort,
what would be cool? And we haven't had it yet. You should get her in here.
She would. She's
what?
A bit camera shy, but I reckon
it'd be the first husband and wife combo that we've had. I mean, your podcast is going to come out at different times, but that would be cool. Yeah. So I can sit here and go, so it was interesting talking with BK. He said this, and she's either going to go, yeah, or nah, it's full of shit.
Yeah. Fully. 100%. And, she's probably sitting at home worried about what I am saying right now.
Right.
Definitely.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so she's actually, she's an amazing artist in her own right, and designer, she's head of technology at Whangarei Girls High School. And,
oh, wow.
So she's inspiring young artists all around her, and she's got the most amazing department.
Yeah.
Of there's 4 artists that exhibit around Whangarei in that department too.
Yeah, crazy.
Inspiring these young people to know that, if you can think it, you can do it.
What have you got anything coming up that you're working on that's kind of super cool and exciting?
Really finishing off the Matt Watson project. So that's been it's been going for a few months now. In fact, prior to Christmas is when we went up and had a look and discussed concept. But I've had a block in the. So basically, it's flax. With the flax frond, with the, how with the flax flowers come up.
Yes.
They can look quite not like reducing in symmetry.
Yeah.
So actually how to make that out of copper. So I've sussed that now, and so that has been the hold up right through Christmas. Beck's been asking the shit out of me. Because she's obviously, you have to make some money and pay your way, and she's like, I'm just kidding, like wives do, and especially when I'll get distracted by a bit of paper blowing down the driveway,
that could be an important bit of paper.
It could be, but generally it's not, and she's definitely a massive part of it, and keeping me on track. And that Matt Watson space has been a real trial, and now I've sussed out the flax flower. Yeah, I'm ready to go. So it's a tui and the flax flower feeding on the flax flowers with the flax, and I'm making 3 stingrays from them. So beautiful. Just smaller ones, not like just like not the big ones. So
BK, thank you so much for coming in and
unreal.
Sitting down with us, man. This has been an absolute blast. We've gone places I didn't know we would go, but it's been really cool.
Tangents, that's me, I've managed to find my way home each night, and my wife's happy with that. So thank you so much for having me. And
very cool.
Been wanting to be on a podcast for a long time.
We're so stoked to have you, man. Thank you very much.
Cool. Choice.
All right, guys, there you go. Thank you very much for making all the way through it. Very cool. BK, as he's affectionately known. Brent, you work out where the name comes from. Plus, also, interestingly enough, rapid fire. He talks about burgers, so go figure. It's like a 2-for-1 kind of combo dealy, really. Editor Lee J.
Hello.
Hi, it's nice to have you back in the studio. It's been a little while.
Yeah, I know. Like, what happened?
You got busy.
No, yeah, I did.
You do 6 days a week, so that's not on us. No, it's not. It's not. For you, what was the most interesting thing that you learned from Brent tonight?
He's got quite a few cool things going on. I like that he's a fellow neurodivergent. Like, can totally relate to that one.
Yes.
I feel like most artists are, though. Probably 99%.
It's interesting. I think it varies. Whatever they say, it's on a spectrum, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And artistic people definitely fall within that spectrum. Absolutely.
Yeah. I also like that he was talking about something I can relate to is struggling to price your own artwork. Like, that is tough.
Yeah.
That is tough. I get that.
Yeah, that art/commerce conversation is so tough. Yeah, and it's funny having talked with we've had a few artists on the podcast where they're sort of talking about selling their stuff. Sorry, my son's just decided to try and call me. And they struggle to price it because they're very humble. It's like, well, no, you back yourself, right? But a lot of people can't do that.
I feel like it's a combination of either being too humble or having like that imposter syndrome.
Yes.
You're like, I don't deserve to be selling this for $1,000.
My God, imposter syndrome. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely come up a few times. I think the big one for me was kind of, and I said it in the podcast, he's a bit of a jammy bastard. He by his own admission, he kind of fumbles his way through school. It's not really his thing. Kind of falls into working for Michael Hill Jeweller just out of pure happenstance. And then kind of falls into, doing all of this different artistic stuff. Not because it's his specialty or anything like that, but he's just had mates go, let's go do this. And he's just gone, yeah, all right. And his art itself is just incredibly, what's like him as a person, it's just incredibly diverse, right? So I think probably learning about him in that way, and how he's just kind of had these really cool things kind of pop up was wicked. Yeah.
And also embracing how he's not like, he used the term pigeonhole. He doesn't want to be like into just one thing. He doesn't want to be contemporary. He wants to basically try test things out.
Yeah.
And I like that too. I can relate to that also.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Where can you guys find all of the wonderful plethora of podcasts that we have available? Well, I'm going to quickly run it through for you guys again. I did it at the start. I'm going to do it now. So, on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, that's the video content. You can find us. It'll be down here, Northland Artists Conversation. Woohoo! Just in there. And for the audio, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube Podcasts at Northland Artists Conversations. It's funny how that works. The easiest way to actually just find us or find wherever you want to consume your content is just Google Northland Artists Conversation. Those 3 words will get you everything. Good stuff. And if you would like to be on the podcast, or if you know someone that would be cool on the podcast, or if you've been on the podcast and you're like, hey, I've done something really cool, man, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. You just simply email hello@northlandartistsconversation.co.nz. That's kind of all one word. And that'll be, around here again, for those of you that are listening, that's kind of my stomach area, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to flick to the wide camera. Editor Lee J. So seeing as it has been a bit of a while since you've been on, what have you got coming up that's kind of cool?
Oh,
I'm going to put you on the spot. Because you've been doing some really cool things on Instagram and stuff like that with videos and bits and pieces,
Yes, I've been basically just experimenting and also just trying to feed what I call the gremlin that lives inside my head, my creative little gremlin. I'll come up with ideas and stuff and I'll be like, okay, I need to execute that idea. Otherwise I'm going to go crazy. I've been doing a lot of drawing again.
Really?
I've drawn for the first time in a year.
Wow.
I've painted for the first time in a year.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Getting back into that
Matt, does this mean we're going to have you on the podcast again?
Yeah, hopefully.
I think so. Man, this is going to be cool. So this is the fun thing, right? We'll get Editor Lee J back in the podcast.
Some self-promo.
That'd be cool. And she can talk about her Instagram and her TikTok and I just don't get it. Anyway, my name is Mark Kelly. On behalf of the entire Northern Artists Conversation team, that is myself, producer Andrew, editor Lee J, and audio engineer Steve. Thank you so much for joining us, sticking with us, and seeing this through to the very end. My name is Mark Kelly. We'll see you guys real soon.